So we got another video of Bernie Sanders making argument for Medicare for all is vital for all union workers, because we have to remember, every day in this country, 500,000 Americans go bankrupt because of unpaid medical bills. And the rest of the free world has Medicare for all, some way to take care of its citizens. We don't. We have money for a joint strike fighter that can't fly at night, but, Medicare for all, it's too expensive. Paul?
I believe it's this one.
Nevada, putting out a flyer that seemed to sort of attack your Medicare for all position, talking about how union members have fought very hard for their health care and it shouldn't be taken away from them. And then Pete Buttigieg kind of piggybacking on that attack, saying this is why labor unions are skeptical or even opposed to your Medicare for all position. What's your response to that?
My response is that I have a lot more union support than Pete Buttigieg has or I think ever will have. And that many, many unions throughout this country, including some in Unite Here, and the Culinary Union is part of Unite Here, absolutely understand that we've got to move to Medicare for all. And the reason is, if you talk to union negotiators, they will tell you they spend half of their time arguing against cutbacks for the health care that they have. They're losing wage increases because the cost of health care is soaring. When everybody in America has comprehensive health care, and when we join the rest of the industrialized world by guaranteeing health care to all people, unions can then negotiate for higher wages, better working conditions, better pensions. So I think the future for unions is through Medicare for all.
All right, great. And see, that's the truth right there. That's Bernie Sanders bringing truth to power about why we need to have Medicare for all. And also, remember, there's a lot of people, especially those who are involved in the pharmaceutical industry, the health insurance industry. They want to take away any kind of hope or idea of this country having Medicare for all because they're making money. They're making money off of our pain. They're making money off of our suffering. And they don't really care about who gets hurt. The one leading cause of homelessness is because of unpaid medical bills. Because one bad day in this country, you can lose your job, your home, your family, everything because of our ridiculous system. When people are sick in this country or they're really hurt, the last thing people want to do is go to the hospital. In fact, there are stories out there where people are calling up Uber or Lyft just to drive them and take them to the hospital instead of calling an ambulance. I mean, that's madness. If you ask anyone else who lives in Great Britain or Germany or Switzerland, they're going to say that's crazy. No, you want to call an ambulance. That's the right thing to do. We all agree. Paul agrees. Daniel agrees. I'm pretty sure all of you agree. The last thing you want to do is call an Uber. But it's a sad reality in this country because we don't have Medicare for all. And it'll benefit unions. It'll benefit everyone. But remember, this is the establishment, and they want to take away any kind of idea or hope for Medicare for all. This is why we got to get involved in this election cycle and why we have to really bring it out on how many people it will save. Think about it. Young and old would benefit from Medicare for all. The rest of the world has it. How come we can't have it? Canada has it. I mean, this is ridiculous. We're supposed to be the superpower. We can get everything done. We landed a man on the moon. We've done all these great things. But yet for some reason, this government, Democratic establishment and Republican establishment, has deemed it fair enough and correct enough to say that we don't deserve Medicare for all because it costs too much money. But yet we can have endless wars. We can't do anything about our people, but endless wars, that's perfect for the establishment because, they make money off of that. And plus, remember, people in the RNC and DNC are friends with each other, and they take money from the pharmaceutical industry and the healthcare industry, but screw the working class, screw the poor, because that's what they want to do. And at least Bernie Sanders is out there speaking truth to power and breaking this narrative. And now we're seeing these flyers, again, relating back to Nevada. We're seeing these flyers out there in Nevada saying, oh, well, we can't have Medicare for all. It's going to destroy unions and their plans. It will help them. And just one more thing, too. Are all of you happy with your insurance companies? Are all of you happy with what they're providing you? Because to quote Rahm Emanuel, Chicago's former mayor, he said, I don't see anyone running up to me saying, take away my health insurance. No, people want Medicare for all because probably, their insurance company isn't providing them any insurance at all. But Rahm Emanuel, do you see him running in a working class neighborhood? Probably not.
See him on TV.
Yeah, and people are asking them for advice. What advice? Oh, how to make sure there's lead in your drinking water and not do anything about it? Yeah.
So I just want to say on this, I think that I am questioning at this point that flyer that's being handed out. where is the actual power of that flyer? Is it actually truthfully being handed out to every single union worker? Is every single union worker looking at a flyer, unlike any flyer I've ever seen? Like, how many union workers have you ever seen look at a flyer and go, well, this is going to determine how I use my life? I don't see that often. What I'm wondering is this flyer, which really had no power that maybe a few hundred people got and looked at, being used as fodder for talking points on mainstream media, and that's the real power of it, is this small little flyer that's going around. So again, to the few, because there are a few places out there, and we've covered this before, there are a few union halls that are like, hey, we worked really hard to get our Medicare fix in, or to get our health care fix in, and Sanders always keeps making the same point over and over, and it's a very good point. And there's one point he actually doesn't make, which is that in his Medicare for All plan, there's actually a stipulation that when it goes into effect, unions immediately get to renegotiate their contracts, which is pretty nice because then they can take that money that the company is no longer spending on health care and move it over to wages or benefits or whatever else there are. So it's already put in. And I'm not really even that sure. I feel like it's like, if anything, it's what it usually is, and that's there's some top leadership who is getting some kickback somewhere, and it's going to be with corruption, and that is very much what Nevada unions have in store for them, or have corruption with them. So I'm sure someone's making a buck that they don't want to lose under Medicare for All. But at the same time, I'm not sure how many people in Nevada are actually swayed by these cards. And I think on top of that, again, he has a huge amount of support in Nevada, and the places that have supported him in Nevada are fine with Medicare. And even though there's a few that are like, hey, I have issues with this Medicare for All thing, they're still going with him anyway. So even if we give them the benefit of the doubt and say that this flyer is somehow a single piece of paper is convincing everyone to rethink Medicare for All, it's only for a small subsect of the union vote. The rest of the union vote's fine with this.
So it really doesn't have anything to do with the flyer, right? It's that's just a tool that they're using. This union is being used as a political tool. It's in their MO. We will cover that in a minute. I have a series of tweets from Nevada Congress candidate who really broke down Culinary 226 as a union, what they are, how they operate, and sort of what spun this whole thing. But it's a very corporatist friendly. Yeah, never mind. We'll get to that in a minute.
So again, if you want someone who's going to fight for Medicare for All, someone who's going to be aggressive towards the pharmaceutical industry and the healthcare industry, it's going to be Bernie Sanders. And we have to make sure that we get this done, because enough is enough. Enough people being hurt by this system. Enough people being crippled by this system. We need to make sure we have Medicare for All. Because if we don't, it's going to be the same horrible system. And, one bad day, and you can lose it all. And that doesn't sound like, something you hear about America. You hear the propaganda about America that, we're number one, that we're a great country. We have everything that's great here. But the reality is we don't. Our people are dying. Our people are at risk of becoming homeless. People are afraid to call the ambulance because it's going to cost them an arm and a leg, literally. This is a sad, sick system, and we need to step up and fight for that better future.